Good day, I'm Twyla Whelan and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, May 28, 2025. Over 26,000 residents of 10 communities in Western St. Andrew are set to benefit from major improvements to their water supply by mid-year. On Tuesday, ground was broken for the $981 million Ferry to Rock Pond pipeline project. Work is to begin in June and is projected for completion within 7 months. Phase 1 of the project will involve laying 7.2 kilometers of pipelines at a cost of $476 million. $505 million is targeted at Phase 2 for mechanical and electrical equipment, the construction of 2 lift or pump stations, and the installation of 2 50,000-gallon storage tanks. The work is being implemented by the National Water Commission (NWC) and will not only supplement the Forest Hill system, but also reduce the pressure on the Forest Hill deep well. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says there are 58 similar projects being targeted across the island and implores residents who are in waiting to be encouraged.
Because the ultimate objective is to say to the other communities that are looking on at what we are doing here, to say, have faith. But in front of you, why I can say that without feeling as if I'm making you a promise that is empty, is that this is what every other community that doesn't have water is hoping for. But in front of you is the evidence of the delivery of what you hope for.
Minister with responsibility for water, Matthew Samuda, revealed that ground would be broken within another 3 weeks for a project to resolve water issues along Washington Boulevard. He says the contracting process is being finalized to allow for the connection at the Sandy Gully Bridge. In addition, pipe laying is to take place along the Helsham Main Road to distribute water being produced at Rio Cobre.
So you see, we've created an integrated, well thought out, cohesive solution to fix the issues that you have. We are targeting water resilience for Kingston St. Andrew, Portmore, and Spanish Town in St. Catherine for 2027.
The National Water Commission (NWC) is reporting the completion of the Forest Hill Solar PV project. The installation of the 350 kilowatt solar photovoltaic system is designed to supplement energy needs and reduce reliance on the national grid. Acting Vice President of Operations at the NWC, Herman Fagan, says the system, which consists of 763 solar panels and 4 inverters, is expected to generate 440,000 kilowatt hours of clean energy annually.
That translates into an estimated $20 million in annual savings and a reduction of over 300 metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions each year, advancing our sustainability agenda and supporting Jamaica's national climate goals.
Mr. Fagan asserts that the $81.5 million investment not only contributes to lower energy costs of approximately 20%, but also reinforces the NWC's commitment to environmental responsibility and long-term energy resilience. The NWC says similar works are projected for Leaders Avenue in Montego Bay, a 100 kilowatt system for Hamilton Gardens in St. Catherine, and a 12.5 megawatt floating solar PV system at Mona. In other news, Jamaica is taking steps to strengthen its ability to monitor and respond to changing weather patterns driven by the ongoing effects of climate change. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Matthew Samuda, reveals that critical upgrades to the country's weather radar system are nearing completion.
I'm happy to report, Madam Speaker, that the final work to bring Jamaica's radar system online for the Meteorological Service of Jamaica is ongoing and expected to be complete this very week, ensuring that the Met Service has the necessary tools for the upcoming hurricane season and is not left solely dependent on external sources. In this fiscal year, the government will increase the efforts to modernize the Met Service, digitizing its operations to be able to provide real-time measurements and reports.
Minister Samuda was delivering his contribution to the 2025-2026 sectoral debate in Parliament Tuesday. The Doppler weather radar, located at Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew, will play a vital role in enhancing the meteorological service's ability to track rainfall activity and issue short-term forecasts. This will strengthen early warning systems during severe weather events, especially in the hurricane season. The radar upgrade is part of the Improving Climate Data and Information Management project and is being implemented by the Planning Institute of Jamaica and supported by the World Bank. The system includes a radar tower, advanced antenna, solar-powered backup, and real-time data processing equipment. In an effort to modernize the sector, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining will invest $60 million this year to acquire agricultural drones. Portfolio Minister Floyd Green made the disclosure during his 2025-2026 sectoral debate presentation in Parliament on Tuesday. He says the drones are expected to arrive later this year and will be used for spraying, seeding and surveillance. The initiative aims to provide farmers with modern tools to increase efficiency and help combat predial larceny. The drones will be distributed through the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA.
It is essential that we have modern agricultural equipment. Just like our man would turn to RADA for a tractor, we want people to be turning to RADA to get a drone that will come out into their fields and do the spraying work for them.
Still on agriculture, a new AgriPark youth startup program will be launched in short order. This is to encourage more young people to enter the agricultural sector. Under the new initiative, young people will benefit from leases that are significantly reduced for new agriparks, paying only half the usual cost for the first 2 years of operation. Participants will be required to show only 35% of their capital investment to qualify, when compared to the standard 70% required of other applicants.
But it gets better. For the first year of operation, we will provide the youth under this program with free land preparation for up to 2 acres. And we will give them free seeds for up to 2 acres on the first year of this. We are embarking on a new era of youth in agriculture.
In addition to the youth program, persons with disabilities will gain access to agricultural lands at concessionary rates under special selection criteria as part of the government's push for inclusive agriculture. And finally, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is cautioning members of the public to guard against the effects of the Saharan dust that is currently affecting the island by reducing exposure. The ministry warns that excess exposure to the dust particles can cause severe health effects, including increased risk of respiratory and related illnesses such as asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, respiratory infection, and allergies. Excess exposure can also cause skin and eye irritation. Director of Environmental Health in the Ministry, Michael Williams, advises that persons, especially those who are already experiencing or who are prone to respiratory illnesses, should exercise great care and precautions.
Stay indoors as much as possible. Wear face mask when venturing outdoors. Wear long-sleeved clothing and protect your eyes with eyewear. Additionally, all Jamaicans are encouraged to wash their hands regularly and avoid touching their eyes.
The dust can also affect water quality, so persons are urged to ensure that harvested water is treated and water stored for domestic purposes, including drinking and food preparation, is properly covered. The Saharan dust is a weather phenomenon that occurs annually, usually between May and October in the Caribbean, with short-lived dust plumes lasting no more than a week. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Twyla Whelan. Thanks for watching.